One of the things that I've really tried to do through this whole thing is stay out of politics.
Or whatever your deal is, or whatever I'm not a real political person.
It was clear his highest priority was always the health and safety of everyone in our country.
Dana White.
What's up, GOP? Good evening, everyone. My name is Dana White. I am the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Dana White stays back and runs it.
We know not only how problematic Dana White is, but also how hypocritical he can be. He runs his businesses poorly, where those who sacrifice their bodies get crumbs while he and his pals rake in billions. This venture, Power Slap, an abysmal addition to the portfolio.
What do we always hear in combat sports? Whether it's boxing, mixed martial arts, or whatever, it's protect yourself at all times. Fighters, while they're trying to inflict damage on one another, and you might say that the injuries that are possible in mixed martial arts are worse looking than the injuries in slap fighting. In slap fighting, there is no defense. You literally are not allowed to protect yourself. And so what you get is basically just two people trading concussive blows for one another. It gets this false sense of safety and security because a lot of us don't associate a slap with being something that could have serious injury consequences. And most slaps, like what we see right here, where it truly is the palm of the hand hitting the face, while still dangerous and having risk, aren't going to be necessarily as bad as maybe a direct punch. But a lot of slap fighting is actually this, basically an open-handed punch, where if you strike somebody with more the hard bones of the wrist or the carpus, is really no different than just punching someone. Your wrist bones sit right underneath this lower portion of your palm, and so if you make contact with someone's face, striking with that portion of your wrist, it's not a slap at all. It's essentially equivalent to an open-handed punch. I mean, look at this one from their promo video. This is absolutely not a slap. This is just hitting somebody with the hard palm of your hand. That certainly is enough impact that it could be causing concussions with every subsequent blow.
Dr. Brian Sutterer has come out against it.
Or the slap boxing
slap
thing.
is crazy, right?
This is like, someone needs to come out and speak out against this.
So please.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be stopped. I'm actually filming a video on the topic right now because...
On slap?
Yeah, I mean, not just slap, but like the most dangerous sports. And to me, like, it takes the worst part about combat sports and accelerates it. Like, why is boxing problematic? Repeated blows to the head if someone's not protecting themselves. And here, the whole point is to not protect yourself and take blows. So it's literally taking the unhealthiest aspect and removing the healthiest aspect, which is all the cardio, the training that's required to box. So like, to me, it's a nonsense sport.
Dr. Mike, who also went on Jubilee, like a few others, spoke out against it as well.
What is really sad about Power Slap is that it's an undefendable hit. A situation is happening that has never really happened in any real sport before, which is somebody can just wind up and hit you with an unprotected hand. You know, just because it's your palm doesn't mean it's not your arm and the bones in your hand striking somebody. So in the short term, getting hit in the head this hard will cause a traumatic brain injury some percentage of the time. And that was seen in the highlights of the first show, that there were multiple traumatic brain injuries. With a traumatic brain injury, especially with rotational acceleration, you're literally causing physical damage to the brain. You're stretching axons and possibly tearing axons, which are the connections between your neurons and connections between parts of the brain. And those will not heal. So you may recover function, but once you've lost brain tissue, it's gone, and your brain basically has to work around it. And so people are probably suffering symptoms for days, weeks, months, potentially years. But also they're losing their resilience to keep getting hit in the head. And so eventually those hits will cause longer and longer damage and more permanent damage.
Along with Dr. Chris Nowinski. And here's the thing. They are all right. They are all correct in their assessments. The Brain Injury Association of America cited a recent study in JAMA via the experts at the University of Pittsburgh. They write, after reviewing a total of 78 fights, which included 333 slaps and 139 sequences among the 56 competitors, The reviewers would find that concussive signs would be observed after 29.1% of slaps and over 51% of sequences. Of the 56 athletes, I put in quotes, 78.6% exhibited at least one concussive sign. The most common exhibited included motor incoordination, being slow to get up, and a blank or vacant look. Now, many fans have called power slap free CTE. That's the line that's going around from one place to another and one fan group to another. Yet, when he was asked about it, here is how Dana White responded. White said that adults have the right to choose what they want to do, which comes with inherent risks, and that he tries to take as much risk out of it as possible for the competitors. But you're not taking the risk out of it. Not in the slightest. It's quite literally at the forefront here. In his attempt to pull a Joni Ernst, White then told Time magazine, I used to box when I was younger. I went in and I did one of those brain studies. I had black spots all over my brain from what I did. I wouldn't take back one punch, not one. And the doctors all talk about somebody could die. I got news for all the doctors. We're all going to die. How do you want to live your life? What do you love? And what are you passionate about?
When you are arguing about illegals that are receiving Medicaid benefits, 1.4 million, 1.4, they are not eligible, so they will be coming off. So people are not, well, we all are going to die. So for heaven's sakes, folks.
What gets me about all of this is Dana White would say boxing led me on this path here when really you just had rich friends. It's not about picking and choosing what you're passionate about and what you really want to do with your life, because you're trying to relate it to that you worked out fine when, again, you have rich friends. That's how you worked out okay. He was a class instructor in Boston and allegedly got tied up with the mob and left. And he found a safe haven with people that he knew. It's not about, also like gloating, I have black spots all over my brain from what I did. I wouldn't take back a punch. Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would. Hypothetically, if you didn't have those black spots, would you have put hands on your wife? Like, I don't know what we're trying to do here with Dana. He's shown to be who he is over and over again. And all he's trying to do is build up a sport, if you even call it that, I don't, that is completely obtuse. And I understand that there are going to be competitors who inherently know the risks of participating in a certain sport. But this is just ludicrous. This should not be sanctioned. But he worked his magic behind closed doors, and he got it sanctioned. Back to the study. The Pittsburgh researchers would conclude, logically of course, that power slap is a paradigm for inflicting blunt force trauma to the head of a defenseless participant and results in the expected constellation of neurological changes seen with impact events. That was said by Gregory Oshanek, MD, of the Brain Injury Association of America's medical director emeritus. He'd also state, this is in fact the established definition of concussion/mild traumatic brain injury as currently recognized by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.